Afternoon, Sarah here, aka the Business Fixer. How are we doing today? I'm going to be talking a little bit, doing things on a slightly different way today. And I just thought that this would be something that hopefully you guys would get some value from. I apologise, I've now got the dog barking in the background. I think it's just one of the day. So what do I want to be talking about? I want to talk a little bit more about how I help you guys. So bear with me 1 second. I just need to go and get the dog. No. That's a great start for today's live. Unfortunately, when I'm live, I can't edit that out either. Anyway, so what am I wanting to talk to you guys about today? What I want to do is share a little bit more about how I work with my clients. Okay. This isn't about me boasting, me telling you how wonderful I am, how great I am. It's not about that. What I want to do is give you real life stories and a real sense of how I work, why I do what I do, and those examples of how I've actually made changes for my clients and really helped them move their business forward. So now, most of you would have heard me talk in terms of our message, talking about how I empower ambitious service-based businesses to reignite their passion and provide them the tools to maximize profitability, enhance performance, and fuel sustainable growth. You've heard me talk about the Business Fixer Toolkit. Ultimately, that's all about providing you the strategy, support, and confidence you need to drive your business forward. But that's only part of the story. One of the big parts of what I love doing is helping you break free from what is deemed industry norms and defy social expectations, ultimately being able to create the freedom to live life on your own terms. Now, let's break that down a little bit, because one of the key things I really, really believe in is society has effectively made people often that there is a certain way in which we do things. Industries have made it clear that there are certain ways that should be done. And I actually think we need to shake that up a bit. Now, there are things that have come through, like, for example, AI, which is now starting to change the game a little bit in terms of how things are done. But I know, from coming from a legal background, the legal profession, for example, is one of those professions that often is behind the times, and they always the way that they've always done them. And I think actually where the real opportunity and the real place for growth is actually by doing things a little bit differently. Now, even if I think about my journey to where I've got to right now, my whole journey has been different to everybody else. For example, even when my journey started as young as doing levels, and my A-level law lecturer told me I'd never make it as a solicitor. Well, I've definitely proved her wrong, because not only did I make it, but I also ran my own law firm. But even in terms of defying social expectations, in the fact that I set up that law firm before I even turned 30, which is just unheard of in the legal profession. So for me, even my own career, I really have set about defying what social expectations are. Throughout my whole entire life, I very, very much have been very independent. I don't do things because everybody else does. I don't follow the crowd. I never have done, even as a teenager. And there are times as a result of that it has felt isolating. I'll be really honest with you. But that being said, if I had done everything how everybody else tells you should do it, I wouldn't be here where I am right now. And I think, There are certain practices that I wholeheartedly agree with, and there are certain strategies that I think every business should have because they are foundational pieces that have stood the test of time. However, I think it's still important to evolve with your business and to try things that are a bit different. Okay. So, in terms of what makes me different compared to every other business coach that is out there, well, I think a big part of it is I am focused on the freedom focused transformation. But it's not just about the business, it's about you as an individual, right? It's that vision that you have for you and your business, because they are intertwined. Ultimately, your personal goals, your business is what's going to help you achieve them. And it's just about financial freedom. It could be freedom on so many different levels, like time, as well as the financial. It's just ultimately, it's just about whatever freedom means to you. Now, something else that I think is different about me is I really want to reignite the passion that first inspired you guys to start your journey in the first place, because we all know that running a business can be, how can I put it? It can be a roller coaster, and ultimately, sometimes we can lose our way. We can feel like we are faced with challenge after challenge after challenge, and it sometimes gets to the point where we think, is it even worth it? And what I want to do is help you really go back to that initial vision, that initial feeling of the reason why you did it in the first place, and reignite that spark. Because ultimately, whenever I speak to my prospects and my clients, there's always this bare ember that is still usually firing away. It might be just a small ember, but if I can get that ember to be a blaze again, then I know I've actually achieved a big part of what I do. Ultimately, some business coaches, for example, they decide, because they've been in the corporate world, that they know how business. And for me personally, I would want to work with a business coach who's actually run a business, who actually knows how it feels when things hit the fan, that they have been in your shoes, that they have had like the extreme challenges that you can get faced with, whether it's making that harsh decision to make somebody redundant, it's the issue of I've not paid my VAT, and the real life stuff that I think a lot of business coaches will show, this really shiny image of business and how successful they are and all of that. Well, that's not real life. Real life business is tough. It is a roller coaster of emotions. It is the rough with the smooth. And I think being real about those things is so important. So where I'm different is my coaching is based on personal experiences. I have faced those challenges and pitfalls. I've made the mistakes, and I want to help you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did, right? But not only that, and this is something that when I worked with business coaches when I had the law firm, and this would drive me a little bit mad, is I can remember going to these events and I'd be writing notes after notes, and I'd learn all of this amazing stuff. And this amazing stuff would be teaching me what I needed to do in my business and why. But when I then sat back, when I got to the office and I sat and looked at those notes, I would be like, well, how do I implement this in my business? How do I actually do this? And that's where I am different. I want to help you implement the strategies in your business, right? And I think the one thing that I also experience with business coaches is a lot of what I call fluff. And they would be making comments like, well, what do you think? How do you think it will work? That in some contexts and in some situations, that is a good approach, because sometimes that is needed, because you need to actually, talking to your clients, you need to be able to really extract out of them what they're thinking and what they're feeling. But actually, one of the things that I really needed when I had that law firm is I needed somebody to turn around and say, no, you tell me that's a bad idea. It's not going to work because I have done this before and this is the end result. It's not going to work. And here's the reason why. Or, yes, that idea, how are you going to implement it? Let's put a plan into place, right? So my approach is very much a case of a direct, no nonsense. I will not tell you what you want to hear. I will tell you what you need to hear. So there will be times when I will tell you something that literally you're like, well, okay. But you're not going to be able to move your business to the level in which you want it to if somebody is always telling you everything you're doing is perfect, everything you're doing is great, keep doing the same thing, because in reality, we all make mistakes. We're human. There are better ways to do that can potentially catapult your business to the level you want in a quicker way. And I'm not saying I'm going to know your business or your industry as well as what you do. And I've had this conversation actually a number of times this week, funnily enough, where, you are going to know your own business, I would hope, and you are going to understand your industry. But somebody who comes in with fresh eyes, who isn't, because ultimately your business is your baby. And when you are that close to something, you can't sometimes always see the wood for the trees. And somebody who perhaps isn't in your industry sometimes, or having somebody who can just put fresh eyes on your business, can often see things that you can't. This is why even where I have conversations with my clients staff sometimes to get their perspective, because it's not their baby, they can sometimes see things that the actual business owner can't. And I think that's a really important part. Now, the one thing that is also a big part of what I do is I'm committed to your success. My level of accountability is second to none. I ensure you stay on track. I will be giving you the kick up the backside. If you are supposed to have done something that's going to push your business forward and you haven't done it, I will say something to you. I will give you that nudge, that kick, whatever level is required to push you forward. Because ultimately, you need that. Sometimes you do need somebody who is pushing you, because it is sometimes hard as a business owner to remain motivated and to keep pushing yourself forward. As much as we are driven and ambitious people, sometimes when you have been faced with challenge after challenge after challenge, you get that point of exhaustion, and you just still need somebody who will pick you up, lift you up, and keep you forward. And that's a big part of what I do. So now let me share with you some kind of stories about some of the clients that I have helped, to give you an indication of the sorts of challenges that I help my clients actually deal with. So one example, let me see. So pricing. Pricing is probably one of the things that I help my clients with, because that is a game changer in terms of helping you increase revenue. And on the pricing side, it's often about the mindset. So it's the mindset where people are afraid of increasing their fees because they think that the market won't allow it, or they think they're going to lose clients. And I can give you two examples. I worked with a HR company who were massively, they were undervaluing themselves. But what we did was we put a package structure into place, and we had a core offer, and we had your kind of lower level and you had your higher level offer. And we put that into place. And I think within a month or a couple of months of those structures being put into place, she won what we called the platinum package. It was a 30 grand contract. And that was a big win. One of my clients that I've worked with, we actually increased their revenue by 3 times as a result of changing their pricing strategy, right? That's one thing. Another part is in terms of being clear on your numbers and understanding what you're looking at when you're looking at your account software, because often business owners rely on their accountant, and you should have a great accountant as part of your team and go to and ask questions. But one of the things that I actively encourage my clients is that they understand these things themselves, because sometimes your accountant will get it wrong. They aren't perfect, nobody is. But what you want to be able to do is look at your own numbers and be in a position where you can truly identify where something doesn't look quite right, but also not afraid of your numbers. So many times when I've worked with clients and they've not done their accounts, they've not been doing bookkeeping, they've avoided going into their package because they were literally afraid to look at them. And I would eventually get them to the point where they would actually be actively wanting to look at them, and they would be in competition with themselves because they would want to be constantly beating the goals that they had set previously. So that's a big part of what I do, and training how to use Xero effectively, but in the way that a business owner does it, not just based on how an accountant will often teach you how to use it because they're doing it for what will benefit them. The accounts need to benefit you. You need to be able to analyze it so that you can make key business decisions. Marketing is a big part of what I do. And this is something that I've seen time and time again with businesses. They do not nail their ideal client. Every conversation I have is like, oh, I know what my ideal client. It's an accountant. It's somebody who needs a photocopier. It's somebody who needs planning. I can help everybody. No, you don't want to help everyone. You want to polarize. So, and often this is something else that I keep seeing is people often see the ideal client as purely industry based. It's not. Sometimes it is, but 9 times out of 10, actually your ideal client is down to the personal characteristics of the decision maker who is going to potentially take your services on board. And it's also the characteristics of the business. So it could be based on their size by turnover, their staff. Yes, industry could be a component of that. But actually it's the characteristics, because I can guarantee if you sat down and looked at all of the clients that you have worked with, there will be a number of them that will stand out to you, of ones that you have absolutely loved working with and ones that you have hated working with. And there will be common characteristics in both sides. That's what helps you identify your ideal client. It's not just based on what sector or industry that you help. Okay. And I'll give you, and like I said, I've had a number of conversations, but I actually worked with a marketing company. Now, one of the things I can safely say as a business owner, when you are teaching the things like I do and what a marketeer may well do, because it's so easy to do it for other people. But when you are sitting and actually doing it for yourself, it is a much, much harder process. So the marketing company that I worked with, they are absolutely incredible at what they do. They really are. But they were struggling themselves to get their ideal client nailed. We sat down and we went through my exercise. And now they've not only have they got the real clarity in terms of their ideal client, they have got clarity in terms of the message. They've got clarity in relation to how they're going to actually teach their clients and their framework and methodology. But they have also now been able to work out what is the offers that they can put that is going to solve the problems that their ideal client has. Everything centers from your ideal client. You get that right, all of the other things start to become easier, whether it's you creating your offers, whether it's identifying where your ideal client is congregating, whether it's creating content that's going to resonate with them. You know, it all stems from the ideal client. And that's a big part of where I've really made a difference in businesses. So I've shared a few bits and pieces there. There is obviously so much more to what I do. But what I wanted to do is be able to give real life examples where I have actually made real changes in their business. Now, the marketing company, for example, as a result of doing all of that, they've landed a monthly retainer with a client that is literally in their ideal client profile, loving working with them. They are now getting more leads coming through and more people are wanting to work with them because it's now crystal clear as to who they help, what they do, how they help them, why they do what they do. These are all things that need to be clear clear on your messaging, so that you are then going to start attracting the people that you want to work with, who also value the services that you provide. So if you would like to find out a bit more about how I can help your business, what I would love to do is to be able to offer no more than 2 of you. So this is a really, really exclusive deal. 2 of you, a business MOT. Now, what is a business MOT? A business MOT is where I come into your business and I do a really deep dive to every component of your business, and I look at where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, and give you an action plan of recommendations of how you can actually reach a level that you are looking to reach in your business. Now, after that, you don't have to do anything more. But after that, if you decide you want my help in actually implementing that plan, then you can do so. So if any of you who have watched this and I have hopefully piqued your interest and made you think, you know what, I'd love to find out how, you know, my business could be taken to the next level, and that help in being able to fuel that sustainable growth, maximize that profitability, and create a business that works for you, then all I want you to do is to either DM me the word MOT, or you can put comment MOT. Sometimes I appreciate that some of you don't necessarily want to show the rest of the world that you have got an interest in what I do, and that's absolutely fine. So either DM me or put the comment MOT, and we can then look and see how I can take your business to the next level. Well, thank you guys for listening. I apologize to the very beginning where the dog's being a little bit of a pain and I had to literally go and get him, but I will see you again here next week.